Hey guys, Jared James here, and welcome to episode 3 of my podcast, Today with Jared James. And today I want to talk about how to deal with stress. And stress is something, guys, we all deal with. And by the way, different people deal with it differently. Some people look completely stressed out. Some people, when they're just quiet and looking like they're not stressed, are actually more stressed than anyone. But what we can all agree on is that everybody deals with stress. Or we should say everybody has stress. Not everybody deals with it. Some people deal with it well, some people don't deal with it at all, and then eventually it turns into some huge blow up that happens that you're wondering what the heck happened. But I want to talk to you, especially coming off the last couple of months that I've had, how do I deal with stress? And I think this is going to help a lot of you because I'm going to explain to you because, look, I run multiple companies. I've got a lot of different things going on. I travel a lot, employees, all of this different kind of stuff. And so I've always got stress. But I think what helps me is that I have an actual pattern I follow to deal with stress. I don't just kind of push things down and act like they don't exist. Especially, as I said a moment ago, the last couple of months have been insane. Like, take into account already, so part of my job is I speak at a lot of events and I go and do keynotes and breakouts and all this stuff. And so I'm already traveling all over North America, jumping from place to place while also coaching my kids, sports teams and, while also running companies and then you put all that on top of the fact that in the last 2 months, we had our major event, our advance that we do for all of our people from all over North America. We had that going on. I bought a house. I sold a house. We launched a CRM in beta format that we've been working on for years and invested a ton of money through all of these various things going on. On top of that, I cut checks for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars just for taxes and then other things that were going on. And it's like one thing after another, after another, after another, while at the same time, I'm getting on stage and we're building businesses and we're doing all these kinds of things. And if you were to watch my life from the outside, or if you were to have the inside, you would have to think this guy is absolutely going to be insane right now. In fact, I was talking to one of the people that works with me, and when we were talking about this, she goes, I don't know how you're not insane. Like, I don't know how you're not completely stressed out. Like, I don't know how is that not happening? How is that not, like, I'm here with you every single day and I feel like you should be more stressed, or I feel like, and so it's not a matter of the fact that I'm not stressed, it's how I deal with that stress, right? First off, I think these are good problems to have. To have to cut a check for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars is kind of a good thing. It kind of sucks, honestly, but it's also kind of a good thing, right? Like, if you were to stop and think about the problems that you have today, many of you as a child would have signed up for those problems. I always say that the job of any small business or any business in general is to create new problems. So that's actually our job to do that, okay? But especially the last couple of months, it's been a little insane, okay? So I want to talk to you really quickly about 4 things that I do to deal with stress, and I'm hoping that these are going to help you a little bit. You may want to write these down if you're able to. If not, just kind of take them and internalize them. But the first thing is that I have a rule. And I have the same rule about stress that I have about gossip, okay? My whole life I have said, when it comes to gossip, that if I don't have the ability to help something or solve something, then I don't want to know about it. I am not a fan of gossip at all. I think that it's absolute poison. I think that it helps nobody. I think that it gives you beliefs about people that aren't necessarily true, that have been jaded by the person who's telling you it. If I can't solve it, I don't want to know. If I can't help the situation, I don't want to hear about someone else's things just so you can feel good about yourself. But I also have the same rule about stress. If I don't have the power to solve something, then I let go of it. I'm going to say that again for a lot of you because that's a big thing and why, a lot of you are stressing about things that you can't even control, that you literally have no control to solve. You have no control. Like, if I don't have the power to solve something, then I let go of it. That's my rule number 1, okay? Because there's no win. When you actually stop and you think about the end game, there's no win if you can't solve it. The second thing I do, which sounds kind of cliche, but it's just true, I just breathe. I just stop and I breathe. I give myself what's called the 7-minute rule. When everything is chaotic and bad things happen and things don't go my way and everything didn't go as planned, and basically I just described life. Like, when all that stuff is going on a regular basis and it's completely frustrating the crap out of me and there's nothing I can do about it, and I give myself sometimes 7 minutes to be pissed off, 7 minutes to be frustrated, 7 minutes to just kind of like act like a 10-year-old. But when those 7 minutes are up, it's over. I give myself the time to breathe. 7 minutes, it's over. It helps. It really does. The third thing that I do is I put everything in perspective. This is maybe the biggest one. Like, I put everything in perspective. I want you to think for a second about the current problems that you have. I want you to think for a second about your lifetime. I want you to think for a second the things that you have gone through in your business. I want you to think for a second about all of those things. And here's what I really want you to understand. Every problem you've ever had in your life has either been solved or went away. Think about that. Every problem you've ever had in your life has either been solved or went away. Everything you stressed about, everything has either been solved or went away. Put it in perspective. Do you think this is going to be any different? You have everything you need to handle everything that's thrown at you. It's really that simple. There's an old saying that God gives his best soldiers the biggest battles. And that's a nice way of putting it, but the truth of the matter is it goes back to what I just said. Like, every problem you've ever had has been solved or it's went away. This, or whatever you face in the next 12 months, or whatever you face in the next 20, is going to be no different. You have every ability to solve anything that comes your way. You may not know what it is now. You may not know who the resources are that are needed now. You may not know how it's going to work out. You may be frustrated by decisions other people make. You may be frustrated by how hard you worked or how... Doesn't matter. Every problem you've ever had has either been solved or went away. Put it in perspective. And then the fourth thing I do, which again sounds cliche, but it's just the truth, I solve it. Like, when a problem comes about, I solve it. And if I can't solve it, I move on. Look, when you stress and worry, you suffer twice. You suffer once through the stress, and you suffer second if whatever you're stressed about ever happens, which 90+% of the time it never does. And so my fourth rule is just simply, I solve it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to sit there and meditate on it and allow that into my brain, into my body. I'm just going to solve it. And if I can't solve it, then I move on. Because when I stress and I worry, I suffer twice. Once through the stress and worry, and once if whatever I'm stressing and worrying about ever happens. And all of this goes back to number 3, just perspective. Every problem you've ever had has eventually either gone away or been solved. It's all perspective. So guys, when it comes to stress, look, for you to do anything worthwhile on this planet, like you have to go through stress. You have to go through pressure. You have to go through, bad things happening. You have to go through. So when you learn to change the meaning, all it means is you matter. Like, when I'm solving problems in my business, I will literally, I focus more on the fact that I have problems to solve than I do on the fact that we have problems. Because I know that when I'm not solving problems, we're not making money. When things aren't difficult, nothing's happening. When your body isn't hitting friction and it's not working out, it doesn't grow. When all of this doesn't happen, there is no growth that happens. So we learn to change the meaning, and we start to say, hey, not the fact that there's a problem, bad news. We start to say, hey, great news, I've got another problem to solve, because when I'm not solving problems, I don't make money. So these are the 4 things I want you to focus on when it comes to dealing with stress. You can follow my rule, which is that if I don't have the power to solve something, I don't stress about it. Second thing, I breathe. I give myself that 7-minute rule where I can act like a 10-year-old for 7 minutes and be completely an idiot about something and worry about it. But after those 7 minutes, it's over. Number 3, I put it in perspective. Every problem I've ever had has been solved or went away. I put everything in perspective. And number 4, I just solve it. And if I can't solve it, I move on.